Good morning. Nice to see you this morning. It's good to be here. Just to feel the energy of all of us coming together for the purpose of awakening. And I want to say happy Palm Sunday to those in the Christian community. Happy Holi to some of those in the Hindu community. And condolences to those in the Jayhawk community. So, equanimity perhaps, but not total equanimity, right? Okay. The topic today is when you feel stuck. Now, this applies primarily to the Dharma practice, but in general to anything in your life where you feel stuck. Many times at retreats and when we work with people one-on-one, I very often hear someone say, I feel like I'm stuck, like I'm not getting anywhere, like I'm working hard, I'm sitting every day, I'm paying attention, but I'm not getting anywhere. So have you ever had that experience? I have, but usually a couple times a week, sometimes, So if you're driving in your car and suddenly you find yourself getting stuck, what do we do? Well, we call AAA, right? Or something like that. Well, in our Dharma practice, if we're driving our Dharma mobile along and we feel like we get stuck, what do? Call AAA. Only it's a little different AAA, as you might guess. Just as you practiced in the meditation a few minutes ago, AAA stands for awareness, acceptance, and allowance. So I want to talk a little bit about each of those. Awareness, you know what awareness is. It's hard to describe, but you know what it is. Awareness simply of what is, not adding any mental interpretation. So a lot of times when people say that I'm aware of something, what they're aware of is their mental framework, Like I'm aware of my crummy neighbor cutting grass when I'm trying to meditate. No, that's not what I'm referring to. That's not what you're aware of, maybe anger. But the mind wants to objectify it and project it into the world, you see. So the awareness is about our present moment experience, our own experience, you see. I remember one teacher saying, she was asked the question, if I'm sitting and I hear the bird chirping, should I just label that as chirping? And she said, no, the only time you label chirping is if you're the one that's chirping, okay? So it's your experience that we pay attention to, my personal experience. And then acceptance. What does that mean? It means we simply allow what's here to be here. We don't judge it, or if we do, we notice that, but we simply accept what's here in the moment. We don't have to accept it forever. We don't even have to like it. It's simply saying, this is what's here. It's just accepting reality as we experience it. That's all it is. It's not saying, I really like this, I hope it never goes away. It's just saying, this is what's here right now, and I acknowledge that. And then the third A, the allowance, we let it be whatever it is. So maybe if it's pleasant, we don't want it to go away. We want to hold on to it. Or if it's unpleasant, we want to push it out the door. We want to get rid of it quickly. Allowance is simply allowing the experience to be whatever it is. You see? So that's the practice. We bring that into each moment, our experience in each moment. There's no need to evaluate. There's no need to measure. There's no need to grade our experience. Just do it in the moment as best you can. So, what do we do when we feel stuck? We explore the experience of being stuck. What we call being stuck, okay? I'll talk more about that later. If you see me doing some chair yoga up here, it's because I've got a little bit of a grouchy hip this morning. And I'm trying to accept it. And if I don't accept it, I accept that. And it's what's here, okay? So, experiencing being stuck. Let's say you feel stuck in your practice, you're not getting anywhere. What does it feel like? Let's do a stuck meditation. Okay, I'm stuck. What does it feel like? Oh, frustration, despair, maybe triggers feelings of I can't do anything right. So just noticing what shows up mentally, noticing what shows up emotionally, physically. All right, this is stuck. You know, it's like an ant trying to get out of a big bowl. You've ever watched an ant crawl up the edge of a bowl and fall down? Try again and again and again, okay? Maybe the ant just needs to sit down there and look at the bowl and say, nice bowl. Let's explore it. So rather than trying to run away, let's just look at what this experience is in this very moment. So there's another thing we can do after we accept and work with this present moment experience as it is. We take a look at the possibility of maybe seeing it differently. This is part of right understanding, right view. Now, I'm calling this experience stuck. And we all know what stuck means. But what is it? You see, I can only be stuck if I'm trying to get somewhere, right? If I'm not going anywhere, I can't be stuck. How can I be stuck in the present moment if I'm just sitting here? So stuck typically means I'm wanting something else. I'm trying to get somewhere. I have this mental view of getting in my Dharma mobile and driving away. Whew. Climbing the highest mountain. But here I am stuck in the sand. What do I do? Well, let's take a look at it. First of all, we explore the experience, and then we perhaps reframe it. Reframing simply means seeing something differently. Seeing it with new eyes, seeing it with a different perspective. Not trying to change anything objectively, but we're just looking at a different angle, as it were. So I'd like to illustrate that in a way that is in the form of a poem. It's a poem by Wendell Berry. Some of you may know him. He's a priest and an ecologist. And he says this: it may be that when we no longer know what to do, we have come to our real work. It may be that when we no longer know what to do, we have come to our real work. And that when we no longer know which way to go, we have come to our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings. So it's kind of seeing things in a different way, isn't it? Instead of seeing it as a problem, it's seeing it as perhaps an opportunity for a new phase of our journey. I know I've experienced this in my life a lot. When I find myself feeling stuck, after a period of time, I begin to experience a period of growth. And every time I've had a breakthrough or a period of growth in my life, it's been preceded with a feeling of stuckness, of not getting anywhere, you see. So just trusting the process. There's nowhere to go. Reminds me of a story of two Zen monks were walking across the compound, the temple compound, and they encountered the abbot walking the other way. And the abbot looked at them and said, "What are you doing?" It's a great question, what am I doing? The young monk said, "I'm going to breakfast." The old monk said, "I'm walking." Okay? So, what are you doing? Most of the time we're going somewhere, right? I'm coming from here, I'm going to here, I'm doing this. We live our life leaning forward, going, getting, doing. But what if we just walked? What if we just drove? What if we just ate? What if we just did whatever we do as an end in itself? Not something in order to make something else happen. You see. It's a slight way of looking at things differently, but very, very powerful. Makes a big difference. You can't be stuck if you're not going anywhere. There's another quote I want to share with you. I'm stuck up here with these. This is from a French philosopher named Gustave Le Bon. I think he had a Sufi background, but it doesn't matter. He says, "You feel you are hedged in. You dream of escape, but be aware of mirages." You feel you are hedged in. You dream of escape, but be aware of mirages. Do not run or fly away in order to get free. Do not run or fly away in order to get free. Rather, dig in the narrow place which has been given you. Dig in the narrow place which has been given you. You will find God there. God does not float on your horizon. He sleeps in your substance. Vanity runs, love digs. If you fly away from yourself, your prison will run with you and will close in because of the wind of your flight. If you go deep down into yourself, it will disappear into paradise. So it's a different way of looking at things. Guy fell into a well, and his friend yells down at him, "I'll throw you a rope." He says, "No, don't throw me a rope, throw me a shovel." Now, I'm not necessarily suggesting you do that objectively, but subjectively, that's what we're doing. We're going down instead of trying to get out. There was a patient that Dr. Carl Jung had for many years, and it seemed like she was stuck one time for several months, maybe years. She seemed like she couldn't get anywhere in her therapy work with Jung, till she had a dream one night. And that dream changed everything for her. In the dream, she was walking along and she stepped suddenly into quicksand. She started to sink into the quicksand. She couldn't get out. She got very frightened. She started yelling for help. Ever have a dream like that? You're falling into something. You can't get out. So she's sinking down into the quicksand, just about up to her neck. And along comes Dr. Jung. She said, "Oh, Dr. Jung, thank God you're here. Save me, help me." And in the dream, Dr. Jung put his hand on her head and pushed her down into the quicksand. And once she had that dream, she realized what her work was and what his purpose was. She had been seeing him as a therapist, as a way of getting out of her experience, as a way of him saving her from her experience. Then she realized from that dream that his work and her work was to go down deeper, you see. And so it is with meditation teachers oftentimes, spiritual directors, counselors. We go to them, "I got a problem, I want you to solve my problem." And some of them, like me and a few others, will say, "Take a deep breath." We're going down. And when we go down, we go into what you might be called a wormhole, if you will. But it's a passageway. It's a way that opens you up to a very different universe. You see, we think this is the only reality there is. But there are other realities much, much bigger than this one, you see. So, reframing means to look at it differently. Maybe instead of trying to run away, let's go deeper and see what happens. You see? And again, this is in our Dharma work. I'm not necessarily saying if you're stuck in the road, just sit there, try to go deeper. But I'm talking about internally. It's a very different story. Seeing stuckness, seeing each difficulty as a way to open up to a greater reality that is really right here, right now. We just don't see it because we're stuck in our stuckness. So I think I'll stop there, and thank you for doing your practice. Thank you for sharing your practice with us. And thank you for this beautiful Sangha that we all have.